this presentation, I will show how to retrieve a Stripe checkout session's line items from a Stripe webhook event. So just to recap the previous presentations, we've created a Next.js 15 application where we're going to purchase a book. So if I click on this Purchase Book button, then I get redirected to the Stripe checkout page. Then here, once I enter in my details and press on Pay, Stripe is going to send an event, and I'm going to capture those events in my webhook. This webhook is stored at source/app/API/Stripe/webhook. And then here, once I get the events, I'm just going to print out the event that we get. And that's what we see here. This is the body of the event. If you want to see a full implementation for everything that's been shown so far, then please check out the previous presentations. So now let's go back to the webhook. So as I mentioned before, all we're doing is when we get specific events for a successful payment, then we are just printing out the body of the event here. So now suppose that whenever we get a successful purchase, that we want to store the actual order in our internal database. Or maybe we want to call some third-party APIs with the book data. So now how do we get the books that the person purchased? Well, another way of phrasing this is that we want to get the session line items from the Stripe webhook event. So how do we do this? Well, first, let's take a look at the event that we're getting. So we printed it out here. And for the event, we have a data attribute. And within that, we have an object. And within that, we have the ID. And so this ID is going to be our checkout session ID. Now with this checkout session ID, we can use another Stripe API to retrieve all of the line items. So if you go to the Stripe docs, there's a docs.stripe.com/API/checkout/sessions/line items. We need to call this API, and then it's going to return a list of all the line items. So if I go back to my code, I already have it prepared, so I'm just going to copy and paste it. Right? And so what you can see here is from the event, we're going to store a session. And that session is going to have a session.id. And then we're going to call the stripe.checkout.sessions.listLineItems function to retrieve all the line items. And then within the line items, we're going to receive different items. And each item is going to be the item in the purchase. And then from there, you can access different attributes like the item.priceID, item.price.product, and so on. So let's see this in action. So I'm going to go back to the bookstore and make a new purchase. Okay, payment is successful. And now let me go down and see the latest events. Okay, so first message here is the event, the payment successful message. So if you go back to the code, you'll see in line 21, we're printing out this event. But then in line 27, we're going to print out the item. And so that is below. So right here, we can see the item. Or in other words, this is the line item in the Stripe session. And within this item, you can see the price ID, you can see the product ID, and then here you can see pricing information and just a general item description. So now just to quickly recap everything that's happened. So here in our Next.js 15 application, we have an API route that's going to act as our Stripe webhook. So it will listen for all events that Stripe sends us. And then here, we only care about events relating to a successful payment. And then from that event, we want to get all the line items, or in other words, we want to get all the product information. We want to see what are all the products that the person ordered. And to do that, we're going to get the session ID. And then with the session ID, we're going to call the stripe.checkout.sessions.listLineItems API. Then from there, we're going to get line items, and we can iterate through each line item and access whatever information you need.